So Alex Mustakas and I were acquainted through Gilbert and Sullivan and KW Musical Productions, and we performed together on stage, and I did something silly, and he said, "Where'd you get that? Where'd you get that move?" Because Alan Lund was our director, and
Lund.
He said, "Did Alan give you that?" And I said, "No, I just did it." He said, "Well, that was funny." I said, "Okay." So then, when he went away to study in England after he satisfied his father by getting his business degree at Laurier, his father's a Greek immigrant, and said, "You're going to get a job, you're going to get education, you're not going to be a stupid actor." And so he did that for his dad. And then he went to England to study his master's in theater arts administration. And he and I corresponded the old-fashioned way of pen and paper.
Wow.
And he said, when I come home, after a couple of years in England, I'd like to produce and perform and direct and have our own little space. And so then he asked, "Have you ever heard of something called Drayton?" He didn't know where or what it was, but he heard there was a theater there, an old 1902 opera house that was sitting like a time capsule. And the community spent a couple of $100,000 to save it from the wrecker's ball. And it was used for 1 or 2 weeks a year by the local players. And I said, "Yeah, I know all those people. We all went to the same high school together in Palmerston." And if you're a local,
say it right.
If you're a local, you say Palmerston. They drink at the Palmer Hotel, but that's just now. I said since 1968 or so, people are now all saying Palmerston because it's a little more sophisticated.
Oh, hoity now.
Yeah. Anyway, I took him up there one night to a town council meeting and introduced him to the council. And I said, "This guy's got an idea to put your little village on the map. Give him the theater, and we'll take care of the inside. You take care of the outside." And they said, well, and wandered around the circle, and one old farmer was sitting there with a red face and pretty sober looking, and we thought he was going to poo-poo this, and his name was Bruce Sheik. And Bruce said, "My grandfather's name is on the plaque outside who helped build this place, and we spend a bunch of money every year for baseball, hockey, and soccer. I think we should put some money into the arts."
Good man.
Wow.
And he pulled out his checkbook and wrote a check for $200 and then expected everybody around the table to do the same. And they did.